Okay, let's read it through. It says, prove that if any three consecutive terms of harmonic progression be taken. Well, you know what I got to do? I got to write this down now. And they're saying that there's three terms of a harmonic. I'm just going to say the three terms. Now, I got to be honest with you. Sometimes reading these things, you have to read a couple times. So prove that if any three consecutive terms of a harmonic progression be taken, the first is to the third. I'll write this over here. The first is to the third. As, well, this is going to be a tough part. The first is to third as the first minus the second is to the second minus the third. Okay? I'm kind of looking at that, and that's my goal. I got to get there. That's what they want me to get to that. The question is, how do you get there? And I'm going to say the way to get there is the way I always get there. I look at the arithmetic. All right, so what I'm going to do is over here is I'm going to write the arithmetic down. And I want to point out what I mean by that. A1, A2, A3. It's just the reciprocals of those terms. I'll put this over here. And what do I know about that? And I want to point out what I do know about that. I know A2 minus A1 is going to be identical to A3 minus A2. So I want to point out, I wrote that down. So 1 over H1, whoops, I wrote it down backwards, by the way. I probably should correct that. But it doesn't matter. You could write it down backwards, by the way. But anyway, I'm going to correct that. But the point about that is, the reason for that, I want to make sure I'm consistent. So I will correct this. It's still going to be the same result, by the way. I'll guarantee you that. But let me write this over here, though, and I will correct my notes. I'll put in the proper order. So I'm doing the common difference, by the way. So let me, what's A2? It's 1 over H2 minus, what's A1? 1 over H1. What's A3? It's 1 over H3. What's A2? 1 over H2. Well, I'm going to common denominator. And let's see what you get over there. You'd get, I got to write this down, don't I? So it's going to be H2, H1, and this would be H1 minus H2 equals H3, H2, H2 minus H3. All right? Let me keep going. A little tough to do that. I'm going to multiply both sides by H2. So these would cancel off. And let me write this over here. So you get H1 minus H2 over H1 is identical to H2 minus H3 over H3. All right? I think I'm getting pretty close to this now. And I want to point out what I mean by that. I'm going to kind of manipulate the fraction. And I'm going to say this is really the same thing as H1 over H3, H1 minus H2 over H2 minus H3. Now I want to see if that's written down over here. So H1 over H3, H1 minus H2, H2 minus H3. We are done. All right, this is done. We did what we're supposed to do. All right, we got this. How do we get that? I kind of write down the arithmetic. I know the common differences, yada, yada, yada. But I do need to correct the notes, by the way. They're not wrong, by the way, but I put it down in the wrong order. What I mean by that, I want to point out what I mean by that. This thing here is really identical to this one over here. The only difference is I multiplied both sides by -1, and if you did that, you'd get 1 over H1 minus 1 over H2, 1 over H2 minus 1 over H3, all right? And that's written over there. So it's not wrong. I'm just going to correct it to be more consistent, all right? Thank you for paying attention.